All right, it's time to start building out this awesome aluminum truck camper that I just installed on the back of my Tacoma. Hopefully you're watching this episode because you saw the last episode where I actually got this in a box, in a couple of boxes. I assembled this new open road, all aluminum truck camper and put it on the back of my truck. We took it up on the mountain. I did a full tour of this thing. So if you didn't see that episode, be sure to go back and check it as maybe 1 or 2 episodes back on my channel. But today I want to start the build out process where I can actually camp in the bed of my Tacoma back here. And I'm hopefully I can get some light in here. The sun's just now coming up, so it's kind of dark. I apologize. But the plan is for this setup, if you follow the channel, you know I've built several truck camping setups out of this Tacoma. And I'm going to take some stuff from some of my older setups, but I don't want to fully rig this thing out for camping just yet. What I mean is hunting season's coming up. I want room back here for deer sleds, my tree stands, gun cases, stuff like that. I want to be able to have room back here to haul that this fall and this winter and camp out of it. So today I'm gonna build a custom box for the back. We're gonna carpet it, make it look really nice. I'm gonna put it back here, and we're gonna be adding the fridge and power. And I'm gonna be powering this truck camping setup different than I have my other setups. And I'm going to show you what I'm using today to power this whole setup and why I chose this route versus the other way. You know, usually I build in batteries and fuse panels and run wires. I'm going to go a different route. I want to keep this setup lighter and more practical for other uses. I'm going to open up both sides here so that I can get some kind of light in here, and the sun should finish being up here in just a minute. Maybe we can see better. But as you can see, the bed of the truck is completely empty right now. I do already have my Billie Bar's tailgate cover, which, you know, that's going to be on my truck no matter what. This won't ever go anywhere. And I'm running my bed rug system back here. So I can crawl around on my knees in the bed of the truck and, you know, be comfortable back here with that bed rug. It really helps your knees out. If you're building a truck camping setup, you definitely want to add something like this if you're going to be crawling around back there. But I've got all of this open space now because I pulled all of my old camping stuff that I had in my last setup. I've taken it out, and today I'm going to show you how I had to modify it to work with this new setup. But we're going to have plenty of storage, a refrigerator in here, and onboard power that will recharge with my truck running. So I'm going to have it hooked up with solar panels, and I'm going to have it hooked up to my alternator on my truck so that I can recharge my battery system. And I also got Starlink this week. So I'm going to show you guys how I plan to use Starlink in this truck setup, and it'll be portable and stuff like that. So let me show you what all I got, and I'm going to get into this build. I put everything on my little cart that I built for the rooftop tent reviews so I could kind of wheel this stuff in and out and get it all installed today. As you can see, I've already did some work off camera. I got some stuff built. Let me shut this garage back. I've got to add some lighting out here, especially with winter almost getting here. I didn't realize how dark it is in the mornings when I'm out here trying to work or trying to film. It is pretty dark out here, but hopefully you guys can see it. I'll try to help out and post edit. But as you can see, I've already built something. Now, if you follow the channel, you know that I've had something similar to this already built in the bed of my truck, where I had a pull-out drawer system. I had these same things right here that we got today that I built that you can open up for storage in the back. And the main reason I built this last time is because I needed somewhere to store the batteries and the fuse block and everything that I had powering the bed of this truck. It was all built inside of this. Now, this isn't the same one. It's the same lids, but for the new battery setup that we're going to be running with the power setup, I had to build it taller, which was fine because now I've got this huge camper in the back. I got plenty of space up and down, but I had to build it taller to be able to fit our new power source. So this is how we're going to be powering our new truck camping setup. This is the Bluetti Elite 300. This is over 3,000 watt hours of power packed into a 2,000 watt hour power bank size. Most of the power banks on the market that are this size are only about 2,000 watt hours. This is over 3,000 watt hours, which is awesome. They did sponsor this episode. Thanks, Bluetti, for sending this out for this build. But this is what I wanted to go with even before they reached out and wanted to sponsor it, because there's some key features with these Blue Eddy power banks that are different than the other ones on the market. This one has an app that you can control and kind of keep up with everything. But this one also, if you're new and you're looking for a power bank, one of the things that may go overlooked when you're looking at all these power banks that are on the market, other companies like to put their ports all over their power bank. They'll put their AC ports on the back side. They'll put their DC ports on the front side. They'll put their charging ports on the other side. You're going to want to store it in a cabinet, or you're going to want to stick it up under a desk or stick it in the corner of the bed of your camper. And if you've got to plug things into it and the ports are all around it, then you're not going to be able to tuck it efficiently away anywhere. You're always going to have it pulled off a wall, or it's not going to fit somewhere because you can't get the cables. Blue Eddy puts all of their connections right up front. So on the front of this thing, you've got your full LCD screen on the front. It's in color. It shows you all the information you need to know. You've got a 12-volt big port here, like the old cigarette style ports. You got your 12-volt 30-amp port here, a DC port right there that is a 1200-watt port. Then you got your AC ports. You got your USB-C ports, your USB ports. And this guy right here is my favorite port. And this is the main reason that I wanted to go with this new Elite 300, is because it has a 30-amp RV port on it. Because I'm going to be able to use this in the bed of the truck and for our camper when we need it. Now, our camper is off-grid. I've got built on power. But the way I built my camper is if I'm somewhere where there's a shore power hookup, like an RV site, when I plug the camper up, it will immediately switch from the off-grid batteries on board to the shore power. Having this in the bed of my truck means that if we are camping and something happens with the camper, the batteries go dead or something, something goes wrong with our battery system, I can plug directly into this and it will bypass all of the stuff immediately, and I can run my entire camper off of this one small power bank. This new Elite 300 has 2400 watt output, but it has a 4800 watt peak output, meaning you can run stuff like microwaves, electric heaters, heating blankets, and anything with a heavy initial load. It won't kick off or it won't trip a breaker or anything like that. You can actually run those high load capacity stuff through this one small power bank. And also, I forgot to mention, the way that I'm going to kind of turn this into endless power in the bed of the truck setup is I'm going to combine their new Elite 300 with the Blue Eddy DC to DC charge controller. So what this is a way to tie directly into the Elite 300 from this charger, and I can run, it comes with the cables, comes with all the cables you need to hook up solar panels. If I want to throw solar up on the top of this, I can run the solar panels down to this box, and this box ties directly into this and it keeps it charged. But the main reason I got it is because of this cable right here. This runs to the battery on my Tacoma, my cranking battery under the hood of the truck. This will tie into it. These will run back to this charger, this DC to DC charger, and it will tie directly into this Blue Eddy. Anytime the truck's running and the alternator's going, not only does it, recharge the battery up under my hood of my truck, but it also charges the Blue Eddy. So it trickle charges the Blue Eddy the entire time. Anytime the truck's running, we're getting a charge. It's not like solar panels where you got to have some sunlight hitting the panel to get charged. If the truck's running, we're charging this. And it also comes with everything you need to plug up the box to the thing when you get the DC to DC kit. I'm going to have all of this linked in the video description. I know Blue Eddy, if you're watching this video right now when it comes out during the summer, they're having a summer sale right now. And if you go to their website, I'm going to have discount links below and a promo code, KAYAKUSA. It's the same promo code I use with most of my sponsors. If you use that and you get you a power bank or a DC to DC charger or something like that, it'll not only will you save on the summer sale, but you'll also save an extra 8% if you use my code in my link. So check it out in the video description below. Thank you, Blue Eddy, for sponsoring this week's episode. Now let's get into this build. Well, I give the sun time to come up so I could see more out here, and now it's thundering in the distance. Hopefully we don't get wet out here today. So other than the Blue Eddy stuff that's going in here, you can see now that there's not a big shadow in here, that I've got it completely cleaned out and ready to put everything in. And this is what I've got built. It's just like the other setup I did. So if you haven't seen that video where I built that other full setup with a pull-out drawer, it's identical to that. Definitely go check out that video. If I remember, I'll put that link to that video in the description of this video. But this is just a box. I painted the inside. I don't have the hinges or anything on it, so I'll open it. I'll show you out here because I'm not going to be able to show you that well probably once it's in the truck. But what I did is I just built a box the height that I need. And the reason I had to make it taller is because the Blue Eddy's taller than the battery. And I wanted to make sure the Blue Eddy had a place to sit in here, and I had a place to mount, probably on this wall or maybe that back wall over there, mount that DC to DC charger. So it should mount right up in there, and then I should be able to just pull the wires straight down. And since all the wires on this are on one end, like you can see right here, that's how everything plugs up. So if I want to add solar, run that DC to DC charger from my alternator, everything is right there. And I should be able to mount this right in here. And I went ahead and pre-drilled these holes on the inside of my box so that if I need to pass wires back and forth through here. And this box will also be, you know, for storage, tools, camping gear, and stuff like that. Hopefully I can get all the power into just one side over here and just reserve one side of this for storage. But anyway, I just carpeted like I do all my other stuff. The carpet, again, it don't match perfectly to the carpet that I've got in the truck, but once it's in there, I mean, it blends pretty good. But if you wanted to be nitpicky, you could tell it is a little bit different shade of carpet than what's already in the truck, but I'll live with it. I did pick up some of this EVA foam. I got this off Amazon. I got it because we're going to be using the IceCo APL 20. This is my new lightweight unit from IceCo. If you watched the last video, I told you guys I'm not going to run in this setup. I'm not going to run my big APL 55 unless, you know, my wife's with me. But 90% of the time, it's just going to be me in that truck. If she's with me, we're going to be in the tiny camper. So this is all I need. This is their really lightweight, small, aluminum, heavy-duty little fridge here. And I'm going to be using this fridge for a fridge and a step to get up to the camper. And since I wanted to be stepping on top of this thing, I went ahead and got me some of this EVA foam. I'm going to cut this shape out. I'm going to attempt to anyway, cut this shape out and cover it. And I got the same brown with the black. So when I'm done, it'll look kind of like this and kind of like my Billie bar not bed rug, my Billie bar tailgate cover right here. See how it's got the black and it's got the brown. And the fridge is going to sit here. That thing that I built is going to be back here. I think the Blue Eddy is going to go in this corner over here. And then I can just drop the wires straight through the bottom of the bed and run them up to the alternator. And I'm going to attempt to do this myself today. I bought this foam. This is 2-inch thick foam I got off Amazon. I wanted a 4-inch mattress to go on top of this thing to give like a little bed in the back for the dogs and somewhere for, you know, when the tents popped up, we can just sit down in there and relax in the bottom end. So I wanted a nice thick foam mattress. The 4-inch thick one was going to take like 2 weeks to get here, but Amazon had this 2-pack of the 2-inch in the same lengths and dimensions for, you know, about the same price, and it got here overnight. So I went with this. I'm just going to cut these to the length I need and then just glue the 2 foam pieces together. And since I don't know how to sew, or I can, but it'd take me forever and it doesn't turn out great, I found this, and we're going to try to use it. This is a love seat cushion. It's supposed to stretch out and cover it or whatever. And I got the same brown. So the plan is to make that back wall in there just like a little sitting area, a little bed area with storage and power so that we can eventually get to installing our lights and everything in here, and everything will be, you know, kind of ready to go. That thunder is getting closer and closer. So we may end up having to back this truck up under the carport and finish working on it. Hopefully it's just going to be a pop-up shower. It looks like it's moving pretty fast. So now I'm just going to get this slid into place. And I don't make these so that they bolt to the truck. This is all just a kind of a tight fit. It's going to slide right in between the fender wells, and then it'll look nice and clean and factory in there once we get it in there. I do plan on putting hinges on these and some struts maybe, but for today we're just going to get them into place so that I know the measurements to put this mattress in and get the foam cut. There we go. Now you can see how clean that looks in there. And we'll be doing lighting in a very, very soon video, so y'all stay tuned for that. I'm waiting on some new lights from KingPin to come in. We're going to do a full light install so we'd actually be able to see in here. But you can see kind of what I'm going for. This will open up. I've got the Blue Eddy Elite 300 right there. And that is the DC to DC charger. I'll have it mounted probably on that wall. And that's going to give us all the space we need for our powers to plug in, run our wires where we need to put them. And then over here on the other side, let me just climb in here. Over here, we'll have plenty of storage for camping stuff. I've got a toolbox that stays on the truck, and maybe the air compressor I'll put back in here, that onboard air compressor that I got from Wolfbox. I may end up mounting it inside this box, but everything's going to live right up under here. And this keeps me a ton of space on this end, which was the main goal of this setup, because I still want to be able to run my tree stand, deer sled, all that stuff will still fit in here, even with, you know, us having the Iceco APL 20 fridge here. If I'm just hunting, I can pull it out and leave it at home. It's not permanently built into this setup. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take a measurement of the top of this, and we're going to make that little mattress. And the main reason I'm making this is not just for, you know, sitting on, because when this tent's open, if you remember the last episode, all of this folds up and you can stand and walk around and camp in here. So this will give me a place to sit. I'm going to throw some pillows back here as a backrest. But this is also going to be the perfect height for my dogs to sleep down here when we camp, so they don't have to come up in the tent with us. I can just have this shut up and they'll have their own little bed down here to hang out, which would be really cool. So before we do the fridge, I'm going to attempt to cut this out and make it look good and cover this, because that'll go over there. Let's get some measurements and see if I can make this bed really quick. And I think we're going to do that in my shop, because there's the storm. Look at that. It's gotten here a lot quicker than I thought. It's coming right over there. You can see the rain wall on the back side of that. So I'm going to pull my truck under here, so while we're inside cutting this to make it look like a bed, we come out here. If it is raining, we can continue to work on this thing and get everything set up. Yeah, coming in here was a much better decision. Feels so much better in here. So I took some measurements. The size of the foam that we need to cut these down to is going to be 23.5 inches, I guess, deep from the back of the cab to the edge, and then 57 inches wide. That's going to be the full width of this. And I think I'm just going to mark them out and cut them right here on this green board instead of trying to lay it in the floor. All right, there's 57. I am going to mark it, but I'm also going to try to use the blade up against this. But if it moves, I do want to mark at least where it's supposed to be. Hopefully this cut's good. I'm going to try a box cutter first. I'm not going to attempt to round anything. This seems to be cutting good. There we go. That wasn't too bad. That's a pretty clean cut. This would be good if these are the only two cuts we got to make. Oh, didn't get all the way through that one. It dulls these blades really quick. There we go. Got through that one. I might be able to do something with those little pieces there. That ain't gonna be too bad. Now, before I glue it together, let's see. One of my worries about this little pad that I got, and I'll link everything. If you end up watching this video and like, man, I want to do that for something, I'll put a link in the video description. All this stuff come from Amazon that I'm using for this. This was advertised as just a stretchable love seat cover. So this might not be any good at all, but it's supposed to stretch the perfect amount that we would need for this. My worry is that it's going to flex the foam, and I might need to put like a stiff bottom in it or something. I got to figure out if there's corners to this. Yeah, there's a corner. Where's the other corner? There's a corner. Maybe this will work. There's a corner right there. Where's the other corner? Right there. And they've got other colors of this too. I wish this would have been a little bit lighter of a khaki to match everything else, but it really don't matter. This is just going to be in the bottom of the truck, place to sit on and change your boots or whatever. Now, let's see if this is going to stretch without folding this foam up. It's supposed to. Might not, though. I see it trying to fold it already. Oh, yeah. Man, this is supposed to... The directions on this says that it would stretch. It's starting to flex it up. Dadgummit. I might have to put something in there because, see, it will stretch and it will fit. It's just it's not rigid enough on the bottom. And I was worried about that, so I am going to put the corners where they're supposed to go. Let it bow up. And I might have to cut me a thin piece of wood to go on as the bottom of this. Well, I think I got it. I paused the camera for like the past hour because I've been trying to figure out a way to make this rigid, but not make it heavy. I've got wood here, that I could have cut, but I don't have any like super thin wood. All I got is 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. I don't have any of that little 1/8 thick. Plus, I think that wood was still been too heavy for what I wanted. So I looked all over the place and I couldn't figure out exactly what I was going to do to make this rigid, except for I looked up under me. Have you noticed there's a square missing out of this foam? So this foam board is insulation left over from the tiny camper build. And this stuff also works great for a table like this if you're running a skill saw, because you can set your blade to cut just through the wood you're cutting through and just barely get into this. And it works really good. I like having a piece around, and I've been using the crap out of this piece. But I think I just sacrificed it because I cut a big square out, or a rectangle, to fit this. And as you can see, this weighs nothing. Now, it's not perfect. I did get it to stretch over, but it's not doing the burrito thing anymore. They sell these covers in different sizes. This was one that was, the dimensions said it should have worked perfectly for what dimensions I'm using, but this was for the love seat. They got them for the couch bottom too, which would have been longer, but my fear was I didn't want to get it too big, so then it wouldn't, just be baggy around whatever I made. So I got this to stretch around. This can be V1, version 1 of this cushion to see how it's going to work. I just wanted to make sure that it was light. Something that when I needed to get into the compartment, I could just slide the mattress off and open the thing to get to the Blue Eddy to plug something in or check on the wiring, or the other side's going to have camping gear. I didn't want to have something heavy to haul out of there. I think this is light enough that I could just slide it out of the way, and it should be thick. I mean, this is still 4 inches of foam. I didn't glue anything yet, but 4 inches of foam on top of the 1 inch board I got here. So let's go out there to the truck really quick, make sure this is going to fit, see how it's going to look, and then we'll come back in here and I'll attempt to cut that EVA foam that's going to go on top of that ice coat. And yes, it is raining out here. Let me open this up so maybe y'all can see in here a little bit better. We'll be installing lights soon, I promise. That's probably going to be the next mod that we do to this setup. So what I'll probably do if this fits is I'll go back in there and I'll pull this over, and I think I might be able to put some staples through this into the foam maybe. We'll see. Let's slide it up here and see how it's going to fit. Do I want this piece at the front? Do it like this. I love how lightweight it is. It makes it really easy to move around. Check that out. That is actually a good height. I mean, it's thick. Let me climb in there. So obviously I can't sit on it with the roof down. Oh, that is comfortable. This will be perfect for the dogs. But when the tent is popped up, I won't be scrunched down like this. I'll be able to sit straight up. We'll put a couple of pillows back there. And it's the perfect size. So now I can raise it up and get in here if I need to, drop it back down. That's going to work out great. What do y'all think? So it is super thick. And I probably could have got by with just doing the 2-inch pad, but it just didn't seem like enough padding there. And I think this is going to be great for sitting on. But it don't look too bad. This material does stretch, and it is comfortable. I will say that. This does feel really nice. And they had different colors. I think this will go good with the khaki I've got here and the khaki we're fixing to put on the other box. Now, let's see if I can do this without just totally ruining the foam. I've done this before. It's been a while, but I used to install this stuff in bass boats and kayaks back in the day. For you guys who've been here for the past 5 years with me, if you're a long-time subscriber, you remember I used to install this EVA foam and a lot of stuff. And I did at the time figure out how to cut this to reveal the black up under it or whatever color is under this to route it. And I use a handheld router. The best way to do something like that is if you're going to be able to stick it on the thing, you know, whatever you're putting it on, that you can run the router around it. In this case, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to stick it on here and then cut it on top of this fridge because I want it to be on the inside right here. On the top of this APL 20, there is a little, it's like a rectangle right here, but I want it to be cut and look good right on the middle. I wish I had a machine that I could cut like a logo or something out, but this is mainly for standing on because I'm going to be using this to step on. Instead of taking the ladder with me on the inside of that pop-up camper, I found it much easier whenever we did that video last week to just step up on this and hop right up in there. So I think what I'm going to do first is get just a quick measurement of the rectangle shape that I want. I want it from the inside there. That's 22 inches. That's good. Hopefully they're both even numbers like that. 22. That one is not. 22 by 11.5. All right, there is 22. Don't move. Don't move. Make sure, double check. 22. 22. Here we go. So this should be roughly the shape. Now we still got to trim it. Let's see how it's going to look on there. There we go. Yeah, that'll be good there. Now I'm going to trim out right around these corners right here. We'll figure out what angle that is. And as long, it don't have to be perfect as long as all 4 of these cuts are the exact same angle. All right, I got it trimmed up. Make sure it's going to fit. It fits. All right. Now let me grab my router and see if I can remember how to do this without messing this up. So what I use for this is just a hand router, and I guess that's called a round over bit maybe. I don't know. I don't do a whole lot of this woodworking with it stuff, but that's what I've used in the past. I am going to grab one of these other pieces really quick and make sure this is going to work, or if I need to adjust the height of this thing. But I use the little ball bearing on the end, and I will set this on a piece of wood, lay it flat, and I'll just roll the ball bearing down the wood. It's better if you can keep the piece flat. So I'm going to try to do it with this. This is just the scrap piece. Let me give this a shot. If it works, I'll show it to you. If it don't work, we'll do something else. This also makes a huge mess. I'll show you what if I can get the earplug out, I'll show you what I'm trying to do here, and then I'm just going to do it. So you can see this would be just a straight razor cut, so you wouldn't really see any of the black. But if you take a router, you can adjust the router. I think that's too deep. I don't really want to see that much black, but I just want to see a little hint of it going around it. So I'm going to leave the setting, whatever this setting was, and I'm going to go around the entire border of that piece we just cut out. So let me do that really quick, because I'm going to make a mess in here. It didn't turn out great because I had a blowout. The bearing on my router bit, so this is supposed to have a bearing on the tip of it. Here's the bearing. It just blew out on me. I guess it was, I don't know. I don't know if it was seized up or what. I haven't used this in forever, so I had to go find my case of other router bits. And of course, I didn't have another one exactly like this, so I had to kind of reroute the edges and stuff, but it turned out okay. It's not perfect. From here, I bet it looks great, but up close, it's not great. So it'll do for what we want. So, I mean, it's going to look good once we get it stuck on there. Sometimes what I do, if you get it, let me see if I got a lighter. I might be able to show you. So if you route this stuff and your bit is a little bit dull, it'll leave little lines like that. You can usually take a lighter, not too much because it will change the color, but you can burn those little fuzzies off and get the line a little bit cleaner. And you can see what I was going for, but the bit, you see, it's a little thinner here than it is over here. But we can clean up the edges before I stick it on there. That's all right. It'll look good. So now all I got to do is not mess it up when I peel it and stick it and get it in the right spot. So I need to clean that off, don't I? And all I'm doing this for, again, is just to protect the IceCo from me stepping up on it. I'm not going to be standing on top of it with all my weight, but I will be using it as just a quick step to hop up into the tent. All right, I committed. All of that for a little bit of padding on this thing. And you can burn the edges once you get it on here. A heat gun works fine too. You just don't want to keep heat on it too long. There we go. Now we got something. Should match the tailgate pretty good. Again, it's not perfect. It felt pretty sticky, whatever this is. This is just some stuff that I found on Amazon. The name on the back says Explore with Ocean Broad. That's what I thought it said, Ocean Board, but it's not. It's Ocean Broad. So whatever that is, it seems all right. It wasn't that expensive. Now we got a nice little step, so we can go out there and see how this looks. And then we're getting close to being done because this is going to be a very minimalist setup. Now you can kind of see what I was going for with that little bit of brown right there. It's going to look good in there. It matches my Billie Bar's tailgate cover, the top of the Yeti there, and that brown on the little couch area. Let me open this up so we get some more light. That brown ended up looking pretty good in there. Look at that. And I did throw some pillows in here. Those were just out of my camper over there. To see what I mean about this being just a minimalist setup. We've got our storage up there. It's not impeding too far that we can't stand up once this thing is all popped up, and we'll be able to have a fridge. I usually do bring a cooler anyway, the little Yeti, because I don't like using the space in my camp fridges for drinks. I can usually just throw some ice packs in here the day before, get it cold, and throw some drinks in there. That way, whatever goes in here is just, you know, the food stuff. So I like keeping my food and drinks separate. And plus, it doesn't take up that much more space, and I can pull it out and throw it in the back seat if I need to. I'm going to have the storage up under there. We've got the Blue Eddy in there. And we're going to have power and lights very soon. I'm waiting on the new KingPin lights to come out. And once they get here, we'll be able to do a full install. I think I'm going to put some 40-inch KingPin lights down both sides over here and the back. And then we're going to install a couple of KingPin lights inside the tent up there as well. That way we got options for light. So here's the switch panel that I plan on putting in here. It's the same one that I had in the last setup. And I'm probably going to mount it right over here on the side, just out of the way. Same way last time. That way it's just kind of tucked to the side. I can turn all the lights on. I want to be able to control everything individually. And then when I do add a water pump or put the air compressor back in here, I can have a switch that controls all of that. And I've also got my rear backup camera. This goes up on the top for my Wolfbox, that G900 Pro I got in there with my rear view mirror. So I need to install that. That was on my Banger setup before this setup, and I just took it off and I've been running the rear camera on my tag, and because I've been running the Diamondback for a while. But I think I'm going to save the Starlink and all the wiring for the next episode because I want the lights to be here. I don't want to have to run wires and then try to figure out where I'm going to, you know, put the lights and stuff like that. I'd rather have it all here and do it all at once. So the next episode, once the lights are here, I'll film hooking up the Blue Eddy, you know, just running that one wire to the back and then hooking up that DC to DC charger back there, which is just a couple of screws. We're going to screw it in and then connect it, and we'll be good to go. And then we'll place all the LED lights from KingPin up in here. We'll get this installed, get the camera installed, and then we'll be good to go. I'm going to be camping out of this thing very soon because I've got another cool product on the way that I'm going to be testing out. And I've used ACs, camping ACs before. I've got a couple of them here, but I've got a new one coming that's supposed to be a truck air conditioner and heater all in one. So we're going to try that out. I'm going to test it out in this setup and see if it actually cools the tent and the bottom down here, because this thing being black, you know, it's going to get hot. So we're going to see if we can actually camp in this thing during the summer without some major AC hanging out of the side of this thing. So anyway, if you're new here, I upload every Monday at 6 o'clock, guys. If you like stuff like this, I'm currently building another project, the camper over here beside me. It's a tiny camper. It's cool. We're going to be taking it out very soon, too. I've just finished buttoning everything up on it. And then we're going to be kind of switching back and forth from the builds. That way I don't burn out too much on this one. I'll switch over to the other one and keep the builds going. And then we're going to be we're going to take it all together one day. We'll have this set up right next to the camper up on the mountain and do some cool camping. So anyway, if you're new to my channel, be sure to go check it out. I got all kind of cool videos over there. While you're there, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next Monday at 6 o'clock. Peace. Tell them bye, Carl. Tell them bye, Carl.